Hey universe, welcome to episode 1 of It's a Choice. My name is Zach Olinger, and since this is my first episode, let me take some time to introduce myself. I'm a 41-year-old male who just moved from Kansas City to I don't know where yet. I know where I'm at, but I don't know exactly where I'm going to live. That's not true either, because it's a choice, and I'm choosing to live in Incline Village, Nevada, on Lake Tahoe. Furthermore, not only am I choosing to do that, I'm choosing to set my goals and intention and my will towards manifesting a lake house property on Tahoe in 2021. So, just to give you an example of how easy it is to make a choice, it's that simple. So, why do we make it so goddamn hard? Oh, I forgot to tell you guys, I'm not safe for work or small children. But back to the point, why do we make it so goddamn hard to make a choice? I'm a student of Jim Fortin's, and if you haven't checked out Jim Fortin, I encourage you to do so. Good man, good stuff, great content, great coaches. Thing about choices, that I learned, and it's easy to forget for some reason, for most of us. If you make a choice that doesn't seem to fit, guess what? Make another one. It's not like a prison sentence. It's not like you're fucking bound by blood, sweat, spirit that you can't make a change. Just choose something different. For example, how the hell I got right here is a series of choices that I can look back upon easily 10 years and see the ripples and interconnectedness of all of my choices, or at least definitely my bigger choices. But yeah, how I got right here, just outside of Incline Village from Kansas City. Being 41, you may have assumed, correctly if you did, that I do have children. And they're small, relatively. They're not like babies, but one's 14 and one's 12. Did they come with me? No. Am I divorced? Yep. So some people would interpret that choice as me abandoning my children. But to get to the meat of what these episodes will be about is about the big choices, the hard ones, the ones where we hear them, the ones where we feel them, the ones where we know are the right thing for us to choose for our higher and better selves, but they scare the motherfucking shit out of us. And we don't allow ourselves to step into that unknown, to step through that fear, to be courageous, to be authentic to ourselves. We choose not to do that. Most of us, anyway. For the past 14 years, I've chosen to honor those nudges and honor that voice, regardless of the outcome and regardless of the appearance of how batshit crazy it looks. And the thing is with the outcome, I'm just not attached to it, because what I've come to learn through over a couple dozen of these choices is that my better self, my better good, my better life is on the other side of that uncertainty every single time. So I have a theory about what it takes to move through these types of decisions. There's a process that I seem to go through, and I'll share that with you here. The process seems to be, at least in the beginning for me, it was a pressure. I could feel something coming. I could feel that a mutually exclusive binary choice was on its way. And as the date drew near, which was arbitrary, I never knew when the date was going to be, as the date drew closer, the pressure of this membrane became more intense and evident. And then, finally, for some reason or another, a choice would come upon me. Not necessarily forced, it was definitely a feeling. It was always a feeling. Nobody was like, no person or situation arose where I felt forced to make the choice. This was completely me, of my own accord, and a day would just come where I felt like a choice needed to be made. So The process is sensing the membrane, sensing the pressure, acknowledging that there is a choice in front of you that's coming, that you can feel it. Acknowledge the feeling. Don't question it. Don't fucking overanalyze it. Don't really even think about it. Just feel it. Because that's a knowing. The kind of feeling I'm talking about, you can just swap out the word feeling and call it knowing. There's a knowing. It's inspired. It's outside of you. It's completely guided. Something larger than you is planting that direction and turning you that way and nudging you forward. Now, you do have free will. You can choose to follow that, or you can choose to not. But if you're here and you're listening to this, I speculate that you're probably more interested in finding out what the fuck is on the other side, rather than staying in the same old, daily routine, staying safe. Because you're here to live, and you're here to live the adventure. So the other thing, that's part of this process, first thing is to acknowledge the feeling. Know that it's there. Know what it is. And acknowledge the choice that may be coming up, regardless of how fucking crazy it may appear. Do not get lost in appearances. Do not mind them. Do not pay them any heed. Acknowledge the feeling first. Second, if you actually choose to proceed through this membrane, if you actually choose to proceed to honor your higher self and to move through that fear and that uncertainty and to see what the fuck the universe is trying to guide you to. And it's not even trying, what it is guiding you to. It'll never fucking fail you, I promise. Anyway, if you choose to proceed, you have to have a shit ton of courage and a shit ton of strength. You know why? Because you have to be completely authentic to yourself. And what that really translates into is that you have to be willing and able to accept being utterly alone and facing all opposition. I'm talking that your parents could be against you, your longtime friends could be against you, coworkers could be against you. There could be 0 other people in your corner applauding your cause, applauding your choice. It's just you. And so that's what this is truly about. When you feel this and you have that knowing, it's about honoring yourself. It's about being authentic. It's about living your authentic, inspired life, which is what this entire fucking podcast is about. You have to be willing to be alone, utterly, in the moment, while you're making the choice, as you move through it. I should even say moments. Because what you're literally doing is moving from one point of context or way of being into another. Every time you make a choice like this, every time you get an inspired feeling, the universe or God or source or whatever you may want to call it is transforming you. You are literally ending one way of being and embracing a new way of being. And by the very definition of transformation, there has to be a letting go and a release of the old. It's a transmutation. It's a whole fucking death and rebirth. So all of those things that appear to be challenges or consequences are inconsequential. Because as you move through and become this new being, you won't give a damn about those consequences. You can give 2 shits, because what's on the other side, that's the new you. That's your new way of being. And you don't give a fuck about those old consequences. And it's not because you're heartless. It's not because you're cruel or cold or completely apathetic or narcissistic or selfish. Nothing that those people may call you. You're being authentic and you're living an inspired life. And most people don't have the balls, the ovaries, the courage, the bravery, whatever you want to call it, to fucking do that. To live an inspired, authentic life. To be true to themselves, regardless of what the consequences may appear to be. And that's really the third thing that I encapsulated that I didn't denote, was the bravery, the courage, the balls, the ovaries. You have to have that. You have to be willing to be utterly alone, and you have to have some real stones about you to go ahead and have the courage to live an inspired, authentic life. So it's really a 3-step process. You acknowledge the feeling, you know it. 2, you honor it, and you're ready to be alone. And 3, you have the courage and bravery to fucking stay with that, number 2, and to keep moving through it, and to embrace and honor that new self that's coming. So as we go through this podcast, I'll share some of my own stories, and then I'm going to interview other people. I'm looking to you adventurers out there, entrepreneurs, moms, fucking people I can't even think of right now, who are living a life where they have made these inspired choices before. They're living an inspired life. And from there, as I said in the beginning, we'll inspire each other to live inspired lives. Because at the end of the day, to live an inspired life is a choice.